So, is it possible to rise above your thoughts? Being a normal person without being a saint or a sadhu, without doing months and months of sadhanas in the Himalayas. Is it possible? Let's look into that. So in this video, we'll discuss about why it is important to rise above your thoughts, what you are missing by not doing it, and how to do it. But before that, let's start with a story. Few months back, I had the opportunity to talk with an old man, about 80 years of age. We discussed many things from movies to his first love, but the significant part of the conversation happened at the end when I asked him one question. Tell me about 3 regrets you have in life. He took a pause for a few seconds and told me, I hope I could have spent more time with my family when I was young. The second one is, I hope I could have spent more time with myself when I was young. And for me, everything changed when he said the third one. I don't know how the time just flew by so fast. It seems like yesterday when I first got my job, and today I'm 80. And that hit me so hard. He was talking about his 80 years of experience, and I'm experiencing it right now, which is every day. At the end of the day, I think how the time just flew by today. The reality is this one day will turn into 1 week. This 1 week will turn into 1 month, and the month into a year. And after some years at the end of my life, I will think this too and probably say to someone, I don't know where the time just flew by so fast. And I think this is the problem of all of us, don't you think so? This makes everything so dark and depressing, isn't it? But there is a catch in it. What if we find the problem here and try to solve it? If we do, then the scenario can be completely different. So I went deep into it, and long story short, I found the main problem here is, drum roll please, it's your thoughts. Probably the greatest hero and enemy of yours is the thoughts. Every day the normal pattern of our mind is to jump from one thought to another. We are always hungry for the next thing we want to do. If I am doing my groceries, I think when I'll cook. At the time of cooking, I think when I'll eat. If I'm talking to someone, I'll be thinking who will be the next person I'll be talking to. And the list goes on. In this game of hunting the next interesting thing, we forget to live in the present moment. And at the very end of the day, we think, where all my time went. In reality, we are trapped in this bubble of thoughts of past and future, that steals the energy from our present moment without our awareness. Maybe you can say without our permission. But yes, this can be solved. We can rise above our thoughts and live in the present moment. And for that, we don't need to be a saint. And the answer lies in this book, The Power of Now, written by Mr. Eckhart Tolle. If you don't know about this book, it is completely dedicated to living in the present moment. A great book that has the potential to open your mind's doors. You can say this is one of my top 3 books of all time. So in this video, I'll break down one of the chapters of this book, which itself titled as Enlightenment Rising Above Thought. A beautiful journey always starts with a small step, and understanding this small thing can be the beginning of our journey in living in the present moment. So let's begin. After the name of the chapter, the writer wrote, Isn't thinking essential in order to survive the world? He wrote that because we all think the same. Our point of view is it is an essential element to think. If we don't think, we will not survive. In the second line, he wrote, as it is, I would say about 80 to 90% of most people's thinking is not only respective and useless, but it's dysfunctional and often negative in nature. He wants to say out of 100% of our thoughts, 80 to 90% thoughts are useless and repetitive and often negative in nature. Much of it is also harmful. Observe your mind and you will find this is to be true. It causes a serious leakage of vital energy. Yes, it sucks the energy from you and from your mind. Now go to the first line. It is related to that. Your mind is an instrument, a tool. It is there to be used for a specific task. It's not like you have to use your mind every second. But it is our normal pattern. For that we think and think. And for that reason, we meditate. We sometimes try to switch off that autopilot mode. Thoughts gives you a false sense of pleasure that invariably turns into pain. So if you look closely, when you are trapped in this bubble of thoughts, the conclusion it draws is pain. Even if it is a good thought, somehow it leads to a negative thought, and at the end we feel negative, we feel pain. Now this line is very important because you are identified with it, which means that you derive your sense of self from the content and activity of your mind. This is very deep, and these lines are very valuable. No one will say this to you, you will not realize until you feel this. It means your identity of self is your thoughts. Oh God, it starts raining. Wait. Yes, it's gone. So what I was saying, you come to the conclusion of who you are from the pattern of your thoughts, from the thoughts that you are thinking every day, from the thoughts that is coming automatically in your mind every day, which is not you. As you grow up, you form a mental image of who you are based on your personal and cultural conditioning. So what we are actually is more than what we think, but it is our mind's pattern to form a story by what is happening around us from childhood to our adulthood. But what's wrong in it? What's wrong in it? Yes, everything is wrong in it. It limits the consciousness that we can have. The term ego means different things to different people, but when I use it here, it means a false self. False self is the enemy of yours. If you realize it, everything changes. To the ego, the present moment hardly exists. Ego is the enemy of the present moment. It deprives you from living in the present moment. As it was saying before, what ego does is to connect the dots of past and future and make a story out of it. That shifts your entire focus from the present moment to living in the dream that probably does not exist. It constantly projects itself into the future to ensure its continued survival and to seek some kind of release or fulfillment there. Yes, we find pleasure in thinking the past and future and not living in this present moment, because doing this is easy and comfortable. But the main thing is, it is not pleasurable. The pleasurable thing is to live in this present moment. So what it was saying, it constantly projects itself into the future to ensure its continued survival and to seek some kind of release or fulfillment there. And excuse me, which is not there. It's like scrolling the social media. Every time you scroll it, you think that probably now this time I'll get pleasure, now this time I will find something that will change my life. And I'm sorry to say, it's not going to happen. It says one, and it started to rain again. I think it, wait. And it stopped. Anyways, let's continue. Even when the ego seems to be concerned with the present, it is not the present that sees. It misperceives it completely because it looks at it through the eyes of the past. So if you are very much indulged in thinking your past, then probably you are not living your best life. You are trapped. What happened in your life in the past? Why you'll do that if the greatest treasure you will find is here in this present moment? Because in this present moment, life is happening. The past moment is dead. The present moment is alive. Then why we will go to the past days and try to feel our aliveness? And yeah, this is what it was saying here in the next line. The present moment holds the key to liberation, but you cannot find the present moment as long as you are your mind. In a short sentence, it means that you need to detach yourself from your mind and use it only when it is necessary. But in the next line, the author gives a description of our perception. We think that I don't want to lose my ability to analyze and discriminate. The gift of the thought is the most precious thing we have. Without it, we just be another species of animal. This is right, isn't it? But contradicting to this, the writer said, thinking is only a small part of consciousness. That is huge. That is huge, coming from a person who is probably, I can say, enlightened, probably who has that spiritual knowledge that we don't have. And he's saying that that thinking is only one aspect, only a small tiny aspect of consciousness. So think, and what will happen if we experience maybe 20 to 30% of our consciousness? It will change everything. It will expand our mind. It will help to live our life more delightfully. We will be more in peace. We will be satisfied like hell. Thought, he said. Look, these sentences are very deep, and probably if you don't read these kind of books or this book, you will not think like this. He said, thought cannot exist without consciousness, but consciousness does not need thought. So you can look the power of consciousness here. Thought needs the power of consciousness. It is a dependable thing. Without consciousness, it will not exist. You can take consciousness as a field, and the field is in your mind. The thoughts will come in the consciousness, and you just need to experience that. So these thoughts need the consciousness where they fall, but the consciousness is an individual entity. They don't need thoughts. It is standing in a higher position than your thoughts, which you are thinking every day. Enlightenment means rising above thoughts, not falling back to a level below thought, the level of an animal or a plant. The next line is very important. In the enlightened state, you still use your thinking mind when needed, but in a much more focused and effective way than before. Use it mostly for practical purposes. Yes, that's the beauty. If you are using your mind only when it is needed, then you can use it in a more focused way, as your energy will reserve from thinking the random thoughts every day. So if you put all the energy you waste in a particular thing, then it will transform into something big, and the quality of your focus will increase. The mind is essentially a survival machine, attack and defense against other minds, gathering, storing and analyzing information. That is what it is good at, but it is not at all creative. All true artists, whether they know it or not, create from a place of no mind, from inner stillness. So it does not need any explanation. It just simply means we think that it's 100% thoughts that helps us to do something creative, that helps us to achieve our goal. But your inner stillness is also plays a crucial role in it, which we ignore, which we don't look at. You can understand it more in this next line. Even the great scientists have reported that their creative breakthroughs came at a time of mental quietude. Very interesting. So have you heard the story of Archimedes, where he was trying to find a solution of a problem, but after giving it many thoughts, after thinking for so many days, he was failed to do so. But when one day he was sitting in a bathtub, he was just enjoying the cold water and the shower with a quiet mind, then the solution automatically pops in his head and he was just happy like hell. This is what the line means. Okay, now coming to the next and last paragraph of this chapter. This is a bit long, but I'm sure you will probably find something new in this paragraph. So what it is saying, it wasn't through the mind, through thinking, that the miracle that is life on earth or your body were created and are being sustained. There is clearly an intelligence at work that is far greater than the mind. How can a single human cell measuring 1/1000 of an inch across contain instruction within its DNA that would fill 1,000 books of 600 pages each? The more we learn about the workings of the body, the more we realize just how vast is the intelligence at work within it and how little we know. And when the mind reconnects with that, it becomes a most wonderful tool. How good is that? It serves something greater than itself, and that's the aim, reaching out to the greater self than who you are now. From the usual unnecessary things that we think every day, they are garbage. As the writer said, probably 80 to 90% thoughts are useless, and in today's world they do not help in our productivity, right? They suck the energy from you and gives you pain as a gift. So keeping this in mind, if we remove this kind of thoughts, this kind of thought patterns from our mind, then we will find the way of living in the present moment. And if we live in the present moment, we will be able to live life fully. And yeah, That's it. That's the first chapter. Probably I'll be making a series of it because this book plays an important role in many people's life, including mine. And I think it will help you too somehow. I'll suggest that go through this book, have this book and experience it yourself. What I'm saying, what I'm describing from this book, it's my own version. And believe it or not, every time I read this book, I find something new in it. I interpret the lines in a different way. Yeah, still I thought somehow that I need to make this video to spread this message which helped me. Another thing that living in this present moment will not happen automatically. It is not like just an instant coffee that you have instantly. It needs practice, and for that practice you need to have this knowledge, and for that the journey will be easier. So what we learned in this chapter are these. So I was thinking to make it as a series where I'll be describing some of the chapters of this book or maybe some other books to you. So meet you in the next.